Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? Today we're going to be quickly going through setting up Tale of Two Wastelands in order to play it on our device. I'm using the Thor Max. Um, I believe that you should be able to run this on the Pro as well. As you can see, the recommended specs here. So just make sure that whatever you're trying to play this on, you at least have these specs to cover, or else it's not going to be able to run, or it'll run poorly. The first thing that we're going to take a look at, as we can see here, is this best of times installation guide. So if you search that, you can also follow the link up there. This is going to walk you through step by step setting up and installing this mod. They're going to be kind of referring to this in terms of Mod Organizer 2, but I'm going to be going through the setup for Vortex. The Vortex setup for me is easier just because it's going to be adding all of the files directly into the game file. So basically, once we get this all set up, we can take that single game file over to our Thor and then get that running in GameNative. If you were to use Mod Organizer, I believe you can. I'm not sure the functionality. I haven't really tried it, but essentially what you'd do is you'd move the game over. You'd mod all of the mods into Mod Organizer, then you'd move the Mod Organizer over and you'd install that into your container. It just seems to be a lot more confusion and possible chances to have something go wrong. So the first thing we're going to look at here under setup is this redistributable file that they have here for you. So this is going to be a VC all-in-one. So I'd recommend downloading this. So this is going to be just having any redistributable files for GameNative. Just have them in your pocket, put them on a folder on your Thor, just so that in case you ever need them, you have them. So I'd recommend downloading that. Just once you do have your game folders set up, move your redistributable files into that, so you have those there. The next thing we're going to be taking a look at is our Tale of Two Wastelands actual installation folder or file. So if we go over to Tale of Two Wastelands here, you're going to see the download the Tale of Two Wastelands installer. That installer is going to walk you through the steps of getting the main Tale of Two Wastelands mod. So as you can see here, it's going to say select run as administrator. Once you find that exe, I did not run it as administrator and it worked fine for me, but just make sure that just follow it just to be safe, that when you do open up the file with the installer exe, you right click and you click run as administrator just to be safe. The one thing with this, so we're going to click on that. Once you have that downloaded, you're going to install. Go ahead and click the Tale of Two Wastelands option and install. So in order to get this mod set up, you're going to need a copy of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. I believe you need the full DLCs for both, so you're going to want to get the Game of the Year editions. I'm using GOG for both of them. I believe you can use Steam and Epic Games if you have the Bethesda version of the games, like I think there's like Bethesda Online or something like that. Those will not work. And just to make sure that when you have these games and you install these games, that you're installing them to an area other than your main programs files. If you have these in your main programs files, it can cause an issue where Windows kind of tries to battle you about modding all of this and merging all of this. So with GOG, I think that already does put the games in a file outside of programs. Steam, I believe you will have to change the path of your library to make sure that it's putting your files outside of the main programs file if you haven't already set that up. But basically, as you can see here, it says the path. This is the folder path. If you run the game, if you don't see anything here, it says run the game once, and then it'll auto-populate these fields. So basically, the next option, it's going to tell you to create an empty mod manager folder for Tale of Two Wastelands. You can also create a folder on your desktop if you wanted to, called Tale of Two Wastelands, and set that to this. Basically, I mean, you can do it either way, so we can do that. If you do set it up on your desktop, just keep in mind that you'll need to compress it first before you move it over to Vortex. If you do it the other route, we can basically go straight in here to Vortex. So this is going to be my New Vegas profile. Once you're in Vortex, if you haven't already done it, you'll create a Fallout New Vegas profile. So it's going to be a clean slate. So it wants you to have completely empty games, fresh games when you run this mod. So you won't see anything here, but you'll create a mod for this game, or create a profile for this game. Once you have the profile, you'll click on it. You'll see that it's empty, and then we'll go up to our open mod staging folder. So this is going to be where we can set a directory for that mod when we create it. So we're going to click open mod staging folder. I wouldn't recommend doing mods this way typically, but for this one it's got a pretty unique way that it does it, so I'd say it's okay to do this for this one. But basically when you're in here, you're going to see nothing. It's going to be blank, and you're going to create a new folder and call it Tale of Two Wastelands. So as you can see, I already have my Tale of Two Wastelands folder here. I'm going to double click on that, and it'll show you a path up here showing you, like, basically in Vortex where that's going to that Tale of Two Wastelands. We're going to right click on that and click copy address. Once we have that address copied, we can take that, paste it into this, and then hit run and hit install, and it's going to install those into that folder. So this will take probably about 15 to 20 minutes because this is a 17 gigabyte file for the mod. It's basically taking all of Fallout 3 and merging it into New Vegas. So it's going to take a while. Once that's done, if you close out of Vortex, close out of this, and reopen Vortex, it's going to tell you that some files on the back end have been changed when you open up that New Vegas profile. And if you click accept on those, it's going to pull over this Tale of Two Wastelands mod. It's going to tell you that there's a bunch of plugins, so enable those plugins. And once you do that, you have the base level mod of Tale of Two Wastelands in your folder for Vortex. And that'll take us to the next step, which is to download the rest of our essential mods. So if we go to the next step, so as you can see, it's going to kind of walk you through here. It says to just double check the size, because the folder of that new mod that you created should be exactly 17 gigabytes. So you want to double check that, make sure that's exactly the same. This next file this next download option you'll see is actually another mod you can download that's already included in this main installation. But if you wanted to be able to update this mod easier, basically if you download that, you'll be able to update it a lot easier. Anytime that there are updates, it will cause a conflict because it'll basically tell you that you already have that file in the main Tale of Two Wastelands mod, but you can override it with this. If you want to do that, you can. I didn't. I just figured I could download it later when the updates came. So the next thing we'll go to is the essential mods, and this is going to be basically walking you through everything that you need in order to get this game running properly. There are quite a few. It's a long list. But the main two are going to be the New Vegas script extender and the 4 gigabyte patcher. So depending on what version you have, it'll show you where to go for all of these. These two folders are going to be mod folders, are going to be downloaded directly or installed directly into your root folder of your New Vegas. So with these, basically, if we pull it up real quick, for the New Vegas or the NVSE, you're going to notice you're going to be putting them right in the same area as your game's executable files. And you should just basically put that in there. It'll make all the changes it needs, add that. And if you'll notice, that NVSE loader is going to be how we start the game from now on. So in order to, when we do get to that point and you're trying to load the game, you're going to load it through that. With the 4 gigabyte patcher, you're going to be able to see, if we scroll up here, we're going to take that folder or the file that we have and put that directly in the main root folder as well. And once you have it in here, you can run that, and it's going to patch the game from 2 gigabytes to 4 gigabytes, so we can do a lot of these things that we're doing, make the modifications. So as you can see, mine says it's already patched. Yours will tell you to patch the file. Basically, once you do that it should be good to go. The next thing is going to be looking at all the rest of the essential mods. So as you can see, if you scroll down here, there's a lot of essential mods going on here. And if you do decide to follow this directly, you can. Just keep in mind that you're going to want to double check, because some of these options have like subfolders it's asking you to install. So if you'll notice, like here, it wants you to download this. If you go here, it's going to want you to download that. I did create an Essentials page that's newly updated. I have noticed that some of the Essentials options that I found weren't quite up to date. So if you go look at my Tale of Timeless Jupiter's TTW Essentials, it's going to have everything that you need in one spot, make it a little bit more convenient for you. And I also have, if we go back, I have here just the link to the Tale of Two Wastelands installation guide. I have a link to the NVSE patcher and the 4GB patcher, so just make sure that you've got everything that's on this list before you try to go to any of the next steps. Once we are done installing all of that, there's going to be one more step on the installation guide, which is going to be this custom INI script. So basically what we're going to want to do, as you can see, we're going to be taking it to our Fallout Custom INI tab, and we're going to be taking this entire script, copying it, and we're going to be moving it to our Fallout New Vegas custom INI folder. So you'll be able to find that in Documents, My Games, Fallout New Vegas, and then we'll click on the Fallout Custom INI, and we'll paste that in here. So I've already done that. Yours should be completely empty. So you're going to go ahead and paste that in here. Once that's pasted in there, go ahead and make sure you save it, and then you're done with that. So at that point, we're basically at the point where we can run the game. So at least to make sure that we've got everything set up, I'd recommend running it at least once just to make sure it's loading up correctly, not loading into Vegas only, not loading into Fallout 3 only. So we'll go ahead and find our NVSE loader, double click that. And my intro might look a little bit different than yours. I've got a couple extra mods in mine currently. So mine might look a tad bit different, but for the most part, it'll function exactly the same. So that's a good sign. We've got both the guys from Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas on there. And we should be loading into Tale of Two Wastelands. Perfect. So once we get to this point, we can kind of tell that we're doing good, that the game is going to work correctly, that we've got all the mods we need. The next step is going to be to kind of stage our game folder for moving it over to our device. So one of the other redistributables that I would recommend downloading is going to be the DirectX June 2010. So if you just search this, there's going to be this tech power up option here. Go ahead and install or download this file and do the same thing we did with that all-in-one VC redistributable. Basically take those, create a folder in your game, and move those over to that so that we have those for GameNative. Another folder that we're going to be or file that we're going to be taking a look at is this. If we Google search Beth Registry command, there's going to be this GOG support option at the top here. If we click on that, we're going to want to have this first option. We're going to download that, and we're going to take a file from that and put it into our game file. So if we were to hop back to my folder, you'll notice that I've got the Beth Registry command. So this is the only file we'll need to pull over here. And we won't do anything with it right now. We'll just save that for when we're over in our container in GameNative. This is for the GOG version only. You'll want to have that here. If you're using the Steam versions of these games, you'll want to make a copy of your steam.exe file, and you're going to put that here as well. Just like copy and paste the steam.exe. You don't need to do anything else. Don't need to pull any other files over. As you can see here, I have my redistributable files where I have the June 2010, and I have the all-in-one here. Just put them in here so that it's all in one package when I move it over to my Thor. I have these two files that I've created as well, which I'll have you guys create now, because basically we're going to be taking our core game INIs and plugin folders, and we're going to be moving those over. So for config, we're going to be going to Documents, My Games, Fallout New Vegas, and we're going to be copying all of this and pasting it into that folder. So we're going to go to Games, Fallout New Vegas, and pasting it into our config folder. For our app data folder, we're going to be going to our C drive, users, pick your username, app data, local, scroll down to Fallout New Vegas. We're going to be copying those files, and we're going to be doing the same thing, hopping back over to data, and putting that in our app data folder. So just double check to make sure that you've got an app data folder, a config folder, your my redistributable folders, and then this Beth registry command. Everything else should be something that you've gotten on the steps of through the mods. Those are just some staging items for when we move over to the Thor. So that's going to be pretty much it for the PC. Now we're going to walk over to our Thor. Basically, however long it might take, this is going to be a little bit bigger file. So go over to your Thor, and I'll see you there in a minute. All right, guys. So now we're back over on the Thor. If you watched the second half of my video prior to me changing it, it is a little bit different. Most of it's going to be very similar, but we've got a few extra tweaks here to get this rolling. I don't know if it was the update for GameNative or what that kind of made me need to change this, but here we go. So I'm going to go into where we pulled over my file folder, just so like I did last time, to kind of show you. For my games that I pull over, I created a GameNative folder, and basically once you pull it over, you're just going to want to double check to make sure like how big that file is, to make sure that it matches and that you got all the information from your PC over to your Thor. So once we just do that, just to make sure we've got basically everything in there, we can go over to GameNative. But the one thing too that I wanted to show you while I'm out here, is if we go over to my Firefox here. So I was using that Beth registry command that I talked about in the first half of the video, and I actually found something that works a little bit better and is more consistent. Ever since the new patch, the new update for GameNative, that registry command doesn't seem to work as consistently, but this registry fix does. So basically, this is going to be a bat file that you can just basically take this file and pull it directly into your game's root directory, just the same as that registry file. So download this option and pull it over there, and then I'll show you how to run that later. Like I said, it's been a little bit more consistent on getting everything ready to go than the registry command. So we'll go back over to, and as you can see, it's Fallout New Vegas registry fix there. So we'll go ahead and go back. We'll close out of some of these windows. Go to GameNative, and I'm going to hit the plus sign in the top right here. We're going to go ahead and click on Thor. Go to my GameNative folder that I've created, and then we're going to click on New Vegas and use this folder. And we're going to go ahead and allow that. Going to refresh so Vegas pops up here, and I'm going to click in here. So the first thing we're going to do is edit our container, but I already have some container presets set up, so I'm going to import my configuration, and then we'll walk through those. So I'm going to go to import config, and it's always good to save these configurations just so you can share them if you need to, or if you do delete your container, you can just re-import them. So I'm going to click my Fallout New Vegas configuration. It's going to apply that, and I'm going to go into edit container. So here's where you're going to see like there's going to be a couple changes that I made, at least for the initial stability, to get the game running now that we've had some issues with the new game native update. So we're going to go ahead and switch this to um, nvse loader.exe. We're going to go to graphics. And as you can see, we're on the wrapper LEEGAO. We're still on the turnip 26.2 R4. We're to the 1.11 Seric version. And everything else should be fairly similar. We've got 4096 device memory, present mode, mailbox. We'll set all these to mailbox. Emulation, we have effect score set to 2512, 32-bit set to effect score, and then just basically all these. We can tweak these later on, but in the initial setup, we're going to do these. That's basically just to get us loaded and booted, and then we can come back and tweak as we need to. What I've found is that the initial load of this is really finicky, and once we've kind of got it loaded, we can mess with things later. So we're going to go to wine, switch our video memory size to 4096. Everything else should stay the same, and then our environment, like I showed in the other half, we're going to have this FD dev features. So if you, I'll show you how to get that here. Going to click on the symbol next to name, scroll down to FD dev features, click the symbol next to value, and then enable TPUBWC, and click OK. You can disable the 7th core here, but if you're using ClusterTune, I wouldn't recommend doing this here because ClusterTune will kind of manage all that for you. So I'm going to go ahead and click save here, and we're going to play the game. So on this initial boot up, it's not going to do anything, but it's going to create our backend files in the container that we need to fill with the stuff that we brought over. So we're going to give this a minute here. As you can see, it's extracting some files from DirectX that it needs and installing Mono. We'll give it a minute. Perfect. It's not going to do anything beyond this, so we'll go ahead and back out. And the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and open the container. And I'm going to move the files that we have. So if we click on the A drive here, we've got our app data files, config files, and then the redistributable files. So the first thing I'm going to do is run that visual all-in-one, that bat file there, and we're going to run that and let it do its thing here for a minute. And this is super convenient. Like I said, having these redistributable files in a folder on your Thor, so that any game that you need to, you can pull these over. It makes this so much easier to go through all the processes of setting up GameNative games that do need these, especially if you're doing custom games and pulling over games that you have copies of on your computer. It makes this so much easier to actually get stuff running. All right. Perfect. So that's done. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my performance HUD there. And the next thing we're going to do is move around all of our files here. So we can install the DirectX, but if you noticed it was extracting those DLLs, that is going to be pulling those from this here, but just for the sake of it, we can run that. And this one's a big one for a lot of the a lot of games that you struggle with, like with audio and things like that. This file can be a lifesaver. So yeah, I think I show it in the earlier part of my video, but yeah, the June 2010 DirectX file from Tech Power Up. I mean, you can find that file a lot of places, but it's typically the online .exe, so you need the offline installer for doing it within the container here. All right, so that's almost done here. And so we're going to click finish there. Okay, so we're going to go back to our A drive. We're going to take our app data first. Going to do edit, select all, copy. We're going to go to our C drive here to users. X user, app data, local, Fallout New Vegas, and we're going to paste that in there. We're going to go back over to our config files, do the same thing, edit, select all, copy, documents, my games, Fallout New Vegas, and we're going to paste those here. Perfect. All right, so now the minor tweak, the first minor tweak other than those container settings, is going to be going out to A drive. And so what I had everybody initially running was the Beth registry file. And I've noticed that with the new update, this is super inconsistent. I would run it like 3, 4 times, and maybe one of those 3 or 4 times it would actually work. It would show that it was working, but then wouldn't actually do anything. So this, when you pull over that new mod I showed you, it'll be this file, this registry.bat. So we're just going to run that. It's just a quick little pop-up. And then what you can do is you can run the registry command just to make sure that it's done what it needs to do. So if I hit yes here, it should tell me technically that I guess GameNative doesn't like my keyboard on the bottom. Type in yes here. It should tell me, as you can see, that it's already done it. And I would be overwriting data. So that's showing that it's already showing that I have this in the location. So I don't need to do anything. So now that we've got all that going, we should be set. So yeah, I'm just going to go double check, make sure I got everything where it needs to be. I think we do. And I'm going to back out. So sometimes even with that bat file, it won't do what it's supposed to do. But we're going to test here. So we're going to go into New Vegas just to test. We're going to go edit container. We're going to set this to Fallout Launcher and save it and hit play. So if this worked, then you'll have a play option in the launcher. We're not going to hit that. We're not going to do anything with it. But if it didn't work, it's going to ask you to install right here. So as you can see, it says play now. I can't click on any of this, so we're not going to do any of this, but it's a good sign because it says play instead of install here. So we're going to go ahead and back out. We're going to switch back over to edit container, do the NVSE loader, save that, and hit play. All right. And initially it can take a little bit of time to load, but this should start off into Tale of Two Wastelands in just a second here. All right, so here we are, guys. We're in Tale of Two Wastelands. I am going to start a new game here because in the video, my last video, for some reason with the uh, screen recording and the GameNative running, there's a flickering on the next scene. So I just wanted to roll into at least the beginning of the game just to show you that it doesn't flicker or anything, that it's working smoothly. So get this loaded. It'll give us our options. We're going to choose the Capital Wasteland. And it'll be loading us into Fallout 3. All right, guys. Well, as you can see, it should be fixed. This should be helping you get started. Um, as you can see, it's running smoothly. Once you have this running for the first time, you can come in and kind of tweak to Proton 11 to test everything out. Tweak your wrapper to the regular legacy wrapper. You want to leave the graphics driver to that. You can even change this to test out what might work better. I've gotten a lot of things working, like the 2.1 play sync. But yeah, you can come in here and make a lot of tweaks just to see if it's gonna work. So as far as it goes, we're kind of just testing it out to see what the potential best options are that are going to load the best graphics. But as you can see, I made a few tweaks. The legacy wrapper or the LEEGAO wrapper, I think you're going to want to stick with. I've tried the other ones; they don't really seem to work. And some of those other options you might be able to get to work, but with this, once you have this main thing where it's kind of running, you can tweak it, and as long as you adjust your settings back, if for something doesn't work, it'll start back up. So have fun tinkering, getting this to work. The one thing I recommend is as you're installing new mods on your PC and you're pulling the file over, what what I recommend you do is keep your container intact on GameNative, but delete or swap out the game file in that folder that you created, because what you can do is you can basically move over the new game file with its app data with all the plugins and stuff, move that new file over, swap it out with your old file, take those plugins and move them into the app data folder, or app data in your container, and then basically use that same container that's already up and running to play the newly updated mods and everything like that. So yeah, guys, like, support. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm glad I got this figured out. So if anybody has any questions, like I said, let me know. That's the only reason that I got to this point where I had to go back and walk through it all, was somebody said they had some issues, and sure enough, there was a huge flaw in what we were trying to do. So have a nice night, guys, and hopefully see you again soon.